Hello, today I'm presenting LingoComics. The goal of LingoComics is to help language learners with situational or contextual language via comic-style storytelling. Today I'll be showcasing various components of the app. First off, let's start with the Story Designer feature. So the Story Designer mode allows learners to self-curate their story collection and make them personal. For example, let's say we have James who just arrived in Canada for his undergraduate degree and needs to borrow a book from the library. Fortunately, there are no existing stories covering such scenario, so let's create one. Let's start by inputting the information about the premise and setting of the story. We'll leave the situation to 1 and the emotional tone, and we won't specify, but we will specify the primary challenge or conflict, which is an internal struggle that James is facing. Here, I'm using the Story Designer to craft a scenario for James. You can see how the minimalistic design makes it easy to start, yet powerful enough to ensure textual and image consistency and relevance within the story. Since we are working with OpenAI's DALL-E image generation model, it only has about 1000 token limit, which makes it difficult to have consistent images. Although improvements can be made to the image generation process by having an image stream, currently the time taken to generate the images for the story takes about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the amount of images you have. The current method works good enough for the purposes of this demonstration. With the story now created, you can now practice through interactive activities like Story Connect or Create Your Own Adventure, both of which are in the beta stage of development. First, let's start with the Story Connect mode, which is essentially a drag and drop activity. The goal of Story Connect is to help learners to be able to connect the textual description of each moment with their respective images. For each description on the right, the keywords are highlighted, showing the significance of each item in relation to the context of the story. Clicking on the Info button will allow us to view the highlighted keywords. You can use the Speech button as well to listen to how the sentence sounds. Now, let's drag and drop the first item on the right to the image that best fits this description. And now we have all the descriptions with their corresponding image. Now let's see if we were correct. Great, it turns out we were correct, and we accumulated 100 points for that. We can always come back for another quiz session if needed. Now, let's go into the Create Your Own Adventure mode. This is a new feature that was recently added to LingoComics that helps support a dynamic creation process. This process is simple. You are presented an initial situation in your story. Now your job is to select an option that you want the character to go in. And as simple as that, you're creating your own branch story. Since this is in a prototype stage, further improvements can be made, such as displaying all the options you've chosen, integrating a language changing option, and dynamic quizzing based on the activities that you've done. Now let's quickly look at the achievements dashboard. This feature tracks the learner's progress, showcases the analytics that helps both learners and educators monitor improvements. Here, your previous attempts in the Story Connect can be viewed, such as points and last played time, which are already useful, and further enhancements will include more personalized profile settings to better tailor the experience to individuals' needs, similar to how Quizlet handled its achievements. And so with that, for this thesis, I focus on a learner-created design for its user interface and experience, and the automatic and consistent story generation. In a previous project in my research fellowship, I already employed language learning using machine translation as a medium to support different languages from English. A next step would be applying the same framework to LingoComics.